Good afternoon, everybody. This is Stephen and Paul from WinExtra bringing you your Microsoft's daily brief for January 6, 2011. Not 211, 2011, because I said that yesterday. That's brain dead.
I missed it and I let it slide by.
I know. I was, even when I was editing it, I was still expecting to hear your voice in there going, Hodson, you're an idiot. But I didn't, so, hey, I got away with it until today. Obviously, okay, first off, let's just clear this up. Before yesterday's show, Microsoft had a surprise press conference. We prognosticated on a little bit, and we were wrong right across the board.
Well, we weren't being serious either.
No.
I mean, we prefaced and said after the fact that, you know, any of these sort of speculations that we make were purely what we would like to see in an unrealistic world.
Well, we were partly right. We said they would not be talking about Windows TV.
I did say we would see Windows 8 running.
Yeah, this is...
And I meant actually running on hardware. We saw it.
Sort of.
Well, we saw Windows 8 with the Windows 7 UI.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll get into that as far as we progress through the show, because the big event yesterday was Steve Ballmer, Baldy Ballmer. Dude,
look, seriously, Microsoft announced a lot of cool stuff. Before we get into it, Microsoft announced a lot of cool stuff at CES yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Some seriously cool stuff.
Yeah.
Get excited about.
But it wasn't consumer.
Of presenters. Hello.
I know, but the other major problem is it okay? This is CES, which is a consumer electronics show. All right. The really cool stuff that Microsoft presented yesterday had nothing to do with the consumer market at this point.
You must remember, CES is it's a consumer electronics show, right? But it's also a trade show. Okay.
Yeah.
And everything that Microsoft announced yesterday directly impacts the consumer. It is a direct knock-on of consumer products.
In my opinion, as cool as the ARM and the SoC stuff, or system on a chip, is, okay, I get doing the surprise announcement. That was probably the perfect way to do it. Okay, it grabbed the news cycle for an hour or so, and then everybody went on their merry way, because the majority of people at this point right now couldn't give two craps. Okay, yeah, the techies love it. All right, it buzzed through the tech blogosphere, and everybody's going, "Oh,
come on, Hudson! The only people that pay attention to CES are the techies. It's a circle jerk for techies." And I say that as one myself. That's all it is. Look, your average consumer doesn't have a clue what CES is.
I still think that the larger part that they did during Ballmer's speech
you're getting sidetracked. All right.
All right.
Let's get on track here for our viewers, because you're talking about stuff that we're not talking about at the end of the show.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Baldy got on stage, unsweaty for a change.
Amazing.
He exuded. What is the word I'm looking for? I'm not going to say excitement. No,
definitely not. A yawn.
Yeah. Did somebody slap Ballmer over the back of the head and tell him he's got to take it down a notch at some point?
Well, I'm thinking that Microsoft Chris is getting a great big bonus, because this was not the Ballmer that anybody really was expecting to come out. All right, I know he's getting good marks from some for his presentation, or whatever you want to call it, last night.
Enthusiasm. He had enthusiastic words, but he lacked it in his presence, in his demeanor, in his voice. You know,
It was a teleprompter presentation, is what it was. That's how it felt. He was just reading from a script.
Now, on the other hand, before we get into the points, we had Liz Sloan.
Oh, God, please.
Who the hell is she?
All right, first off, people, if you want a perfect example of drinking way too much 5-hour energy drink, watch her segment of the video, of the presentation.
Dude, seriously, it was the first 7 minutes of presentation I've ever seen, okay?
And her
this
voice...
woman gets up there, she is...
her voice made me want to scratch my ears off my head.
But she was like...
Yeah, I know.
Look at me! I'm a happy mommy, and I have kids, and you too can be just like me with Windows Phone 7, and I've had too much Red Bull, and I'm going to explain this, and I love Microsoft, and I'm this, and I was like, somebody take her out back and shoot her!
Sean Piani was at there. He was at the keynote. Right in front row. He was in the pit bull, the VIP pit bull, pit pen. Whatever. And he IM'd me. He says, I can do the kill shot. I can take her out right now. I got perfect line of sight. All right. Just give me the word.
Ballmer was underpowered, should we call him. She was Red Bull in ignorance. There was the guy, I can't remember his name. Mike, well, he was talking about the SoCs, right? He was...
And Surface.
He was genuinely excited. He wasn't using a teleprompter. Yeah. I thought he was going to bloody ejaculate all over the stuff. He was that excited. And then there was the fella that was presenting Xbox.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
His name was Darren or something.
He's forgettable.
But he, too, came out... He lacked enthusiasm as well. He was like...
It was a phony enthusiasm.
You
know what it was?
The presentation was lacking.
You know what it was? Ballmer struck me as Windows running on ARM. It's low powered.
Dude, Windows running on that Tegra looked fast and hot. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
First thing that we came across yesterday was Avatar Connect. So this is for Xbox 360 users with Kinect.
Yeah.
Basically, there's a lot more to read into this than you might understand. To begin with, what it is Avatar Connect is like teleconferencing software, except using your 360 avatar.
Yeah.
And Kinect translates your body motions into what's going on the thing and your voice. And you can record it and upload it to the web, so expect YouTube to be flooded.
You can. Art and I were talking about that this morning, because that was one of the things that really caught him. Can you imagine doing this show as Kinect avatars?
I would hate it.
You would?
I would hate it. I wouldn't watch. I would not watch if that was the way it was done. Okay? They've obviously bumped the resolution of Kinect, because it is now doing facial tracking in real time, right down to your eye movements and your eyebrows and your...
Yeah, let me put it this way. Ballmer looking into the camera and, doing the old eyebrow raise.
We can actually show people. I put a link in the video. Yeah. While we're talking right now, people should be watching it. But you know what? It's coming free this spring to Xbox 360 Gold members. So if you have a Kinect, you're getting it for free. But I'm telling you, as soon as it comes out, it's going to be... YouTube is going to be flooded with this crap.
It's going to go viral.
Preteens making videos to everybody. Anybody... See, the problem with...
Hey, Leo Laporte.
The problem with this kind of technology is this, right? I love the fact that, in this era, you and I can sit here and make a show.
Yeah.
Okay? But really, if you've got nothing to talk about, you shouldn't be on the air. If you can't structure a sentence, you shouldn't be on the air.
Yeah, but some people might say we're like that.
We are like that. But I personally don't give a fuck about what they say. All I care about is what I want to see online, and they can go piss off. Alright, so we also got some interesting numbers while he was talking about Xbox Live. 30 million Xbox Live members. There are currently 50 million Xboxes sold.
The one number that's in dispute is the 8 million, because they originally predicted that before the end of the year they would sell 5 million.
Yeah, but it's not in dispute. I mean, why is it in dispute? Ballmer came flat out and said, we have sold in excess of 8 million.
Yeah,
actually, he said we sold 8 million in the first 60 days.
But what people are suggesting is that is the amount that was sold into the supply chain to the retailers, not to the end user.
You know what? You listen to these plonkers.
See, I have to.
I was paying very, very close attention to the things that Ballmer was saying today, because that's yesterday, because that's some of the things I want to talk about today. Ballmer was very specific in a lot of the things he said. For example, skipping ahead to talking about Windows, okay? When he was talking about the Windows Live package, which is the
Hotmail and Windows Live Essentials.
Essentials, right? He said the new release of Windows Live shipped to 500 million people. Now, that is not saying, 500 million people have downloaded this.
No.
Right? And like when Mozilla says we've passed 2 billion downloads or whatever, and it's every version ever. The new release, Ballmer was very, very specific when he was quoting numbers, and this happened the whole way through the presentation. I don't know why it struck me, but I started taking notes, actually, of what Ballmer was saying.
Man, that's old school. Like, where's the iPad with the old notebook on it? So,
I don't want an iPad. I want a real tablet.
Yes.
Like the E121, which was the last of the machines that the last.
I saw that one. I wasn't that one.
Dude, go look at the post that I wrote on WinExtra yesterday, where I slapped the head off what's his face.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
The specs for that machine are in there. It is epic. Anyway, moving on.
Oh.
Go on.
The one that I liked was actually the one I think is Acer's bringing out, or is the one that's the two screens. We'd already seen it pre-CES.
The 14-inch Acer, two 14-inch touch screens. Yeah. Nice to see that they got. The big problem with that was the bottom screen being a keyboard, and what happens?
Yeah, but they dealt with that.
Looking at Mike's demonstration, you can adjust the position of the keyboard to fit your fingers, and it has palm
rejection technology.
Rejection, that's what they call it.
Palm rejection. Palm rejection.
Windows Phone 7, Fable.
Yeah.
Coin golf coming to the phone.
Yeah, but here's the interesting thing. That's a perfect casual game that can actually benefit your online Xbox
yeah, because you earn
game.
gold there, and it goes to your Fable 3 character. Interesting ones that got me. Sims 3, that's not a big thing, because that's everywhere. Pro Evolution Soccer coming to Windows Phone 7.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that. Pocket God, too. Pretty cool. 5,500 plus apps as of yesterday. 100 new apps added to the store every 24 hours right now.
Nice.
20,000 developers plus and growing. Plus, we're getting copy and paste this month. Plus, we're also getting performance improvement. Well, we did get to see Liz Red Bull Sloan demonstrate the copy and paste, which of course is utterly magnificent. But we did get to see it, which was kind of cool. And then we went on to Windows PC after that, because she really didn't give us anything about Windows 7.
No numbers.
She was giving us 7 reasons why Windows 7 is awesome, or Windows Phone 7. One thing, am I the only one who noticed? I've picked up, maybe it's been elsewhere, I don't know, But I noticed yesterday a big difference between Steve Jobs and Steve Ballmer, and I think it's something that Microsoft needs to adopt. Right? Jobs talks about Apple products as if they were people. Ballmer calls it it and at and the.
Mm-hmm.
Jobs talks about an iPhone as if it is a person.
Yeah.
Ballmer calls it and that. And I think there's a mental thing there about trust. It's completely bad grammar, but as a marketing trick, I think it works.
Yeah, but
Anyways.
Okay, all right. Continue. Let's continue on.
We then went on to the. They brought us onto the Windows PC. Windows 7 being the fastest selling PCs in history, according to old Baldy. One every 7 seconds, which is an old number, and 20%. Now he didn't say 20% of all PCs. He said 20% of all PCs connected to the internet. Probably because that's a measurable number for them, because they are connected. 20 million users of the IE9 beta.
That's a good number for a beta. I wish they would actually make it an official release type thing.
Mm-hmm. Interestingly, when they were talking about the Office Live, this will tell you sort of the level of adoption. He never gave specific user numbers, but he did say a rather interesting thing. That in the first 100 days, Hotmail sent 20 million people to Office Live. Now, you have to remember the way he said it. So they were in Hotmail, and they went from there into Office Live. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Then we go on to the ARM stuff, and we're going to be going into the ARM stuff, and we're probably going to talk about the difference between, the trade-off between a full-size OS and, low-power chips and the whole lot. But Ballmer said something, and he kept saying it in one variation or another throughout the entire night. He said, quote, "Customers increasingly have come to expect the full power of the PC across a wide range of form factors." And then later on again he says, "Increasingly, customers expect a full range of capabilities from any device." And I think that lends a lot for us to extrapolate about what we're going to see in the future when it comes to Windows Phone 7, tablets, and PCs.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps stressing that from what they know and what they hear and what their feedback, customers want the device to do everything. This is why we're seeing ARM. We've seen 3 ARM platforms, all running Windows, the next version of Windows with a Windows 7 UI. We've seen that the system on a chip is down to being...
Oh, God, it's the size of a cracker.
It's about twice the size of this,
Yeah.
and that's the entire computer.
Yeah.
Entire computer. The motherboard, the GPU,
Memory, everything.
Everything. About twice the size of your average SD card. Now, that leads me to believe with what he's been saying, that we are not going to see disparate OSs across the platforms. I believe we're going to see one version of Windows with modular components.
What have I been saying? Modular? Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but you've been talking about selling modular components. I'm talking about from a developer's point of view, you're going to get one version of Windows, and as an OEM, you load the components that you require for your device.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to see Windows 8 having multiple UIs in the one install.
Yeah, that's been the rumor. Paul Thurrott was bringing that up, and so did Mary Jo Foley, that there's Mosh and one other code name that they're using, as well as Wind.
Yeah,
there's a three code names running around right now for this.
They were showing off, right? On I believe it was the Texas Instruments ARM platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
Windows running
Office.
running Office, printing. They were saying 9 hours battery life.
Yeah.
This is still at an early stage. 9
Yeah.
hours battery life.
Yeah.
They were showing Intel chips, fanless PCs. They were showing, hardware accelerated, seriously heavy hardware accelerated stuff running on the Intel SoC. They showed it, especially running on the NVIDIA SoC.
Mm-hmm.
That was unbelievably fast for
Yeah.
ARM. And they were still quoting 6+ hours battery life on that one.
Now, I will say the one where they demoed the fish in the tank reminded me of, I said on Twitter, fish on crack. They were just,
Yeah, but I mean, they got that up. He had that up to 250 fish swimming around at 40 frames per second.
Yeah.
There's many an average laptop that can't do that today.
I know. There's no denying that the future looks very, very interesting as far as Windows is concerned. We've got the ARM coming. And the Surface, man. Like, you just see that new Surface, the Surface 2.0?
Surface is awesome. I love the fact that what really got me about the Surface is the previous Surface was camera-based.
Mm-hmm.
You camera, track everything you do. Right? This one is infrared-based. It's also... each individual pixel is somehow or another acting as a camera. I had it down here. Plus, it's capacitive touch on top of that. So you've got 3 forms of input that are all combining. It's really, really excellent stuff.
And the price I heard so far, they've already got it. It's going out to businesses at just under $8,000 or $7,500.
That's sweet, you know.
Oh yeah.
That's a nice point for that.
Remember when you couldn't even buy an XT computer for that kind of money?
No, you couldn't, and now you're looking at Surface. And I mean, Surface is a full-blown, did they say it was a dual-core PC with
and we're talking 20 years. What they've done in 20 years, they've gone from the XT that costs the same amount as what the cutting-edge Surface 2 costs today.
And Royal Bank of Canada is actually going to be one of the people rolling that out, which is...
Not that I use their bank.
It's very cool. I'm wondering, though, you're a developer, so you may be able to shed a bit of... You're more of a developer than I am, anyway, so you may be able to shed a bit of light on this. We're obviously going to see a whole new range of developer tools.
Well, see, this is where this gets interesting, because I'm not sure whether it was in the surprise event that they ran. They said, and I'd have to check the transcript, but they said that Windows developers, even the apps out right now, would not have to be recompiled.
Yeah, I paid attention to that too. They don't have to be recompiled, right?
Yeah.
If it's the Intel SoC.
Ah, okay.
But for the ARM SoCs, and there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
The Texas Instruments, the NVIDIA, and was it Qualcomm? The other one?
Yeah.
They have to be recompiled, but it's just a matter of recompiling. But I'm wondering, are we going to see, Visual Studios, let's just work with Visual Studio.
Yeah, we are. They've already said that, I think it's 2012 version is going to have ARM support built into it.
Yeah, so you'll be able to compile for, I'm assuming you're going to need 3 different binaries, because each one of these ARM platforms is slightly different.
You probably, I don't know. See, we're still in early days in this, though. That's just the problem.
But we're a long way off. I mean, we're not going to see this for another 2 years.
No.
You
2012.
Yeah, so another year, 18 months.
It's actually pretty incredible when you think about it.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking,
how long have they been working on this?
I'm just wondering, though, in order to keep the developer support, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to see a free upgrade to people who currently own Visual Studio in order to support the new platforms?
They will probably... I'm not sure if
they'll have to if they want to maintain the developer support. They'll have to, because if you develop for Windows, well, the consumer is not going to know that, okay, I have an ARM tablet. Mm-hmm. I can't run Angry Birds on my ARM tablet with this...
Okay, this is where this gets interesting, and we talked about this pre-show, and we'll spend a couple minutes on it because we're getting near the end here. Silverlight. Microsoft is talking about opening up an app store with the next generation of desktop apps based on Silverlight.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, for Silverlight. We're going to see a lot of pushes for Silverlight development for what we will call low-end apps, okay? Apps that are visually pretty, all right, but rely on a lot of data from the cloud. But they will run cross-platform because the Silverlight binary will already be compiled on all these systems, and then it's just code that Silverlight interprets and runs.
But what I can see possibly, I'm not sure if they're actually going to be able to do it or what would be involved, but potentially, because given their move to want to try and cover the whole spectrum, tablets, desktop, laptops, tablets, phone, Mac has a universal binary, okay, that covers. If it's a universal binary, it's supposed to be able to go on any of their form factors and run. Okay.
Between iOS and Mac OS X.
I don't know. All I know is that okay, for example, like an app that is a universal binary should be able to run on the iPhone, iPad.
I thought that was to do with the fact that I thought they came out when they had the difference in the architecture when they switched between the PPC and the by86 architecture, and any universal binary was supposed to be able to run on both.
Yeah, but okay, any Apple fans, okay,
please clarify this one for us.
Yeah, we would appreciate it because I'm going by what I know about this, but what I'm wondering is we might see the same thing happen in the Windows world.
We might do. Some sort of a universal deployment. You know what? It's beyond possible. So, yeah. But I mean, again, we're seeing a push that's probably going to be one OS across all the devices. So,
okay. Let's.
It could just mean we have larger binaries.
Yeah. Your video's froze, so I think maybe we'll take this because we're running almost close to 30 minutes here. So I think maybe what we'll do is we'll take this as a sign to quit the show, finish the show quickly before we lose you altogether and Bodburner shuts down. So, folks, this has been our little conference on CES, Ballmer, and all the goodies from Microsoft. We will probably be talking about this again in the near future. But this is Steve. That's the Frozen Paul. This is WinExtra's Daily Brief for January 6, 2011. The future is coming very soon. See you later, everybody.
We will see you tomorrow, folks.
Bye.